So this keep or drop is already covered in make, buy, sell, buy. There's nothing special to it. And the specific question that you should do that will cover this topic entirely is urban versus suburban. That should we stop operating the suburban division or should we continue? So this is covered over there. What we are going to do is now sell as is or process further. Let me first take you to a separate slide. Now, sell as is or process further. This basically is your CMA Part 1 topic, joint and byproduct costing. Let me just tell you what it is all about. Under a joint input or under joint process, like in petroleum, you input your petroleum, the raw petroleum, which is not enough crude oil, I would say, that is not in the form that it could be used. So you input your crude oil into a common production process, right? A point will come in the production process where your crude oil will split into its fractions. It is done in a fractional distillation chamber in oil refineries. When oil is refined, the crude oil is refined into its different fractions in the distillation chamber. It converts into oil, gasoline, kerosene, crude oil, bitumen, so on and so forth. Now, there are two options available. Either I sell my oil or gasoline right at this point, sell as is. That's what you call sell as is. Or incur some separate processing cost and then sell it after some further processing. So this is what we have to decide. Should we sell as is or should we process further and sell it after further processing? Which one of these is more beneficial? So that is basically the idea. So what we will be doing basically, we will be comparing just the same thing what we have been doing in this unit. We will be comparing the marginal cost of further processing with the marginal benefit. If the cost is more than the benefit, do not process further. If the cost is less than the benefit, then do. And if the marginal cost is equal to marginal benefit, in that case, in the short run, at least you are covering your variable cost, but that is not sustainable in the long run. So in this case, again, the situation may dictate, it could be maybe, but more likely don't, because there are some fixed overhead which you need to cover. You cannot sustain this in the longer run. So this is it, MC versus MB. That is marginal cost of further processing versus the marginal benefit that could be obtained by processing goods further. So this is simple idea that you need and you can apply in your questions, and that should be sufficient. And as I said, it's a part 1 topic, unlikely to be tested, but let us complete our syllabus entirely and let's do them. Okay, now let's see what the question is all about. We have 3 products, ABC, and these are the units produced. These can be sold right now for $4, $2.25, and $3, respectively for ABC. But if you process them further, if processed further, you will get $5 for A, 4 for B, and 3.75 for C, but it will require some additional unit cost, 0.75, 1.2, and 0.9. So we are indecisive what we should do. We don't need this information because the cost that has already been spent. Let us read the question. An Air Corporation uses a joint process to produce 3 products A, B, and C, all derived from one input through a joint processing activity. The company can sell these products at the point of split off, that is end of the joint process, or process them further. The joint production cost during October were $10,000. This cost is something that doesn't differ. Remember, FDA. The cost that is from the future differs or avoidable. The cost has already been spent. Gone. The cost that doesn't differ, whether you process A further or B further, this cost doesn't change. This cost is unavoidable. You have to spend it, only then you will get the items A, B, and C. So it is neither from the future, already been spent, nor does it differ between different options, nor is it avoidable. So it is irrelevant. Ignore this. The only relevant cost we must be concerned with is the cost specifically related to these items. So let us discuss these one by one. It says, assuming sufficient demand exists, NAR could sell all the products at the price previously mentioned and at either the split off point or after further processing. You can sell whatever you want at every price. To maximize its profits, NAR Corporation should do what? Let us see which of these can be processed further. Let us do it for all. This basically is the marginal cost, MC. Additional cost, we don't need to do any computation for it. And if you want to calculate the marginal benefit, let us write it in the last column, marginal benefit for each. How do we calculate? Right now we can sell it for 4, but after further processing we can sell it at 5. So it's going to be $1, right? Further, it can be sold at 2.25, but after further processing it can be sold at 4, so that's going to be $1.75. Right? What about the last one? It can be sold at 3, but after further processing 3.75, so you get additional 0.75. Now compare this cost versus benefit. 0.75 is the cost, benefit is $1, so that makes sense. You should process A further. What about B? The cost of further processing is 1.2. Additional benefit is 1.75. It appears it is beneficial to process B further. What about C? The cost is 0.9. But additional benefit is less. This is not good. C is not beneficial. C should not be processed further. Right? So that means we should only process A and B further because the benefit is more, cost is less. Benefit is 1.75, cost is less. So A and B must be processed further. So that makes sell C at split off and perform additional processing on product A and B. That is as simple as that. All right, this is a good one. Okay, it says a company has 7,000 obsolete toys carried in inventory at a manufacturing cost of 6 per unit. This $6 per unit has already been paid. It's gone. Khalas takum. Unavoidable. Paid off. Doesn't differ. It's not from the future. Irrelevant. If the toys are reworked for $2 per unit, they could be sold for 3 per unit. If we could rework at $2, we can get it for $3, which means by further processing, we can get $1 per unit further processed, right? If the toys are scrapped, they could be sold for 1.85. Now, these are two things we need to compare. If we sell them right now, it will get us 1.85 per unit, right? If they're scrapped, they could be sold at 1.85 per unit. That means if you have got 7,000 obsolete toys, the money that you can get is 1.85 times 7,000. 12,950. If you decide to further process, that will get you $3 extra, but you need to spend $2 for rework. So you get $1 per unit, and for 7,000 units, you get $7,000. This is what you have to compare with. If you sell them as is, sell as is, and this is what you get if you process further. Process further. So which of these do you think should be the right option? What should we do? The question says which alternative is more desirable and what is the dollar amount of advantage of the alternative? Clearly, sell as is more advantageous, and by how much? See the difference. It is 5,905. So you just scrap. If you just scrap, you get more benefit of 5,950. So that would make A to be the correct option. So this is what you do, ladies and gentlemen. Sell as is or process further, whichever is beneficial. So here we are going to just sell as is and get A as the right option. Next. Long question. Always recommended to first see what exactly is the question's requirement. An assistant in the company cost accounting department was overhearing saying that when both joint and separable costs are considered, the firm has no business processing either product beyond a split off point. The extra revenue is simply not worth the effort. Which of the following strategies would you recommend? He has drawn some conclusion that we should not process further because extra revenue after further processing is not worth the effort. It's useless for us. Well, we can't oversimplify things this way. We do the marginal analysis. We compare the marginal cost of further processing versus the marginal benefit that could be obtained by processing the things further. Then we decide. So that's what the point is. Ox Incorporated manufactured 40,000 gallons of mononate and 60,000 gallons of Versailles in a joint production process, incurring 250,000 joint cost. Gone. Irrelevant. Sunk cost. Irrelevant for our decision making. Oct allocates joint cost based on the physical volume. I'm sure those who have done part one, and there are some people who have done part one, they would know that there are four methods of joint cost allocation: physical quantity method, sale value split off method, constant gross margin, and NRV method, and not the current topic. So this is what they use to allocate the joint cost. It is irrelevant. Sunk cost, we are not going to consider. It's a part one domain. It says mononate and Versailles can each be sold at the split off point in a semi-finished state. This is first option. You can sell as is, or alternatively process them further. Additional data about the two products are as follows. Now let's compare. Let us compare two options. For mononate, the marginal cost, variable production cost, if processed further, is $125,000. Okay. What is the benefit? Right now, you can sell this at $7, but after further processing, you can sell it $10, which means you can get $3 extra. This $3 extra could be earned on a total volume of 40,000 mononates. That means 120,000. So look at this. Your marginal benefit is less than the cost. So, or incremental benefit is less than the cost, or additional benefit is less than the cost, since they give you the same accept reject decision. That is why in this part two topic specifically, he has used these terms interchangeably: marginal cost, incremental cost, or differential cost, or additional cost, because they get you the same decision point. So in this case, since cost is more, benefit is less, don't. Okay, let us see the next part. For Versailles, the marginal cost or extra cost is $115,000. And what about the benefit? 15 less 18, $3 per unit. For 60,000 gallons, you get a total benefit of 180. Clearly, the benefit is much more than, not much more than the cost. Quite significant difference is there. So we should. So Versailles must be processed further, and mononate should be sold at split off. So that would give you B to be the correct option, right? That perfectly fits the bill. B. This one should be the last, and that's the idea of sell as is or process further. Okay, it says John's Enterprises manufactured three products ABC during the month of May. John's production cost and sales data are as follows: units of production, further processing cost for B and C. A is out of question. A can only be sold at split off. It does not require any further processing, so it's out of the race. And that is why you don't see A in any of the options. A is not further processed, so there is no decision whether sell as is or process further. A is out of race. Let's see for B. Okay, for B, the further processing cost, call it the marginal cost, is $60,000. What about the revenue? You can sell it right now at 5.5. After further processing, you can sell it at 8. So the difference is 2.5, which for 20,000 units is going to be 50,000. What about C? Further processing cost is $140,000. What about the benefit? 10.25 less 12.5, so it should give you 10.25 less 12.5, 2.25 multiplied by 70,000. 157,500. So clearly, yes, the benefit is more than the cost, so you should process further. So which of these options then we write? Process product C further, but sell product B at split off point. And that's, ladies and gentlemen, how do you decide sell as is or process further?